Skip, can you talk a little bit about mandated reporting and who is a mandated reporter within a church and a youth ministry?
Yeah, the first thing I want to say, Kelly, to an incredibly important question is every single person watching this video clip can go online, Google mandated reporter in their state, and have an immediate suite of resources available to explain this process to them. The second thing I want to say is to understand how it works, you need to understand, I think, its genesis. We've just had too long a history, and it's not over, of people who work with youth, learning of a problem or potential problem, and then making a judgment call on their own, whether they can handle it themselves or whether it needs to be addressed by them. Almost every state legislature has intervened in this process and saying, we don't trust your judgment, and we shouldn't trust your judgment to say you can handle this yourself. We want a regimen of supervision and investigation where you report, we investigate. We'll exercise the judgment. This can be very painful and seem very unnatural to a teacher, social worker, psychologist, youth minister, etc. But because of the importance of addressing this widespread problem, the state law is unflinching, and it's a felony not to report when you're a mandated reporter. Who's a mandated reporter? That will depend state to state, but it began with highly regulated professions that clearly were charged with caring for children, and it has steadily expanded over the last 20 years. So if you can possibly imagine that your role is a repeating role of caring for minors, you're almost certainly going to be a mandated reporter under the state regimen. And then it's important to understand what that means. It means that, for instance, in your Safe Church program, when you have maybe an ambiguous, likely but certainly not proven, you have not investigated problem, which may be only harassing language. I don't mean only harassing language, but I mean well short of rape or molestation, inappropriate pictures, inappropriate communications, etc. And you decide we need to investigate this carefully. You should know whether you do or do not investigate. As a mandatory reporter, you have to tell Department of Children and Families about that incident if there's probable cause or a significant likelihood that there's been misconduct or abuse within 12 hours. And this is one of the shortcomings in most Safe Church policies, where they will have this detailed investigation process and they'll go a day, a week, a month making an inquiry when they would have triggered the mandatory reporter requirements in the first 12 hours. So that's who a mandated reporter is. Every person who works with children should check their own state regulations.